Your wife hired a man to kill you." The words hit like a bullet. Spoken by a homeless girl to Daniel Carter, a wealthy businessman. They hung in the thick heat of a Dallas afternoon like smoke after a gunshot. Daniel stood frozen on the sidewalk, the sun glaring off the hood of his black Mercedes. The hum of traffic, the scent of exhaust mingled with cheap coffee, and the noise of downtown faded into silence. The girl had emerged like a ghost, thin, barely noticeable, eyes sunken but gleaming with something unreadable. "Sir." "Daniel," she whispered, her voice hoarse, nearly swallowed by the street noise. Daniel frowned, preparing to brush her off like so many others. But then she stepped closer, a fog of sweat and street dust surrounding her. "Your wife paid someone to kill you." Time stopped. Heat clung to Daniel's back, making his shirt stick. Cars honked. Life went on, but not for him. "You're trying to scam me, right?" he barked, disbelief shaking his voice. "You want money?" He stepped aside, but the girl followed. Her bare feet slapped against the pavement. "I heard it," she insisted, "at the Redwood Cafe. She was talking to a guy, Sal Hargrove. Dangerous guy. Real bad." Sal Hargrove. The name dropped into Daniel's stomach like a stone. Everyone in Dallas had heard of him, a fixer, a shadow, the kind of man who left silence and bodies behind. But his wife? Nora? The woman who picked out his cologne, who giggled at his lame jokes, who had slept beside him for 10 years. Impossible. "You're making this up," he snapped, louder than intended. A passing couple glanced his way. "Lower your voice," he muttered, pulse hammering. "How do you even know that name?" The girl, she said her name was Lily, stepped closer, grime smudging her face. "I was there. I beg outside the cafe. I heard everything. She said it had to look like an accident. No mistakes." Daniel swayed. The blue dress. She'd worn it 2 nights ago. Pearly buttons catching the chandelier light at dinner. Lily had described it perfectly. "How do you know about the dress?" he whispered. Lily took a step back, her voice barely a breath. "Be careful, sir. Sal's not the kind of guy you come back from." Daniel stood, unmoving, as the city roared back to life around him. But inside, silence bloomed like a crater. Later that night, back at the house, Nora hummed softly in the kitchen, swaying as she stirred something fragrant. The same dress, the same curls pinned up. "I got home early," he said, forcing lightness into his tone. She smiled without turning. "Dinner's almost ready. How was your day?" He studied her. Every detail felt rehearsed now. Fake. "Did you stop by that new place downtown, Redwood Cafe?" The spoon in her hand froze midair. A beat. She turned slowly, a frown knitting her brows. "Redwood? Don't think so. Where is it?" Her voice was steady, but Daniel saw the flicker in her eyes, the hesitation, the way her fingers clenched the spoon. "Near Uptown," he said, stepping closer. The smell of rosemary filled the air, stifling now. "Oh," she said with a shrug. "Maybe I'll check it out sometime." She lied. He knew. That night, while Nora slept, Daniel sat on the balcony, eyes fixed on the dark yard below. His phone buzzed, a notification from the security camera. He opened the app. Nora was outside, walking in circles near the fountain, robe clinging to her frame, her hands waving nervously as she whispered into the night. The next morning, Daniel drove to a crumbling warehouse in East Dallas. Oil and rust tainted the air. It was where Sal was rumored to operate. His private investigator, Mike, had confirmed it all. "She met him here last night," Mike had said. "You were right." Daniel gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles turned white. He had to see it for himself. He left the car, boots crunching gravel. Inside the warehouse, through a narrow crack in the metal door, he saw her. Nora, standing, waiting, wearing that same dress. And beside her, Sal, arms crossed, cold eyes. The truth hit harder than the Texas sun ever could. Daniel ducked behind a stack of rusted crates, his breath tight in his throat. From his hiding spot, he could hear them. Nora's voice was low, sharp. "It has to be this week. I don't care how. Just get it done." Sal didn't respond right away. He flicked a cigarette onto the concrete, crushing it under his boot. "Your man's careful," Sal said finally. "Too careful. I don't like careful." "You've been paid," she snapped. "Do it." Daniel's hands trembled. The woman he had kissed that morning had just handed out his death sentence, and it wasn't a bluff. He turned and slipped out quietly, phone already recording. Every word, every sound, every betrayal. But it wasn't enough to have the truth. He needed to use it. Carefully. Back home, Daniel smiled like nothing was wrong. He kissed Nora on the cheek and said, "I'm flying to Austin for a couple days. Business." She smiled, nodded, and asked him to bring back that smoked chili salt she liked. By midnight, Daniel had checked into a hotel under a fake name and met with Mike, his investigator. "I want this over," Daniel said, "but legally. I want her caught." Mike nodded. "We'll set the trap." The next evening, Daniel sent Nora a message. Flight delayed. Back tomorrow night. But Daniel never left the city. Hidden inside a van across from his own house, he watched with law enforcement and Mike as Nora welcomed someone inside. Sal. She poured him a drink. They clinked glasses. Then came the line that sealed her fate. "To Daniel Carter," she said with a wicked smile. "May he rest in peace by morning." Sal chuckled. "You sure he's flying tonight?" Nora held up her phone. "His flight took off an hour ago." Daniel leaned forward and gave the signal. Police swarmed the house. Glass shattered. Doors slammed. Sal made a run for it, but was tackled to the floor. Nora screamed. "What is this? What's happening?" Daniel stepped into the room, alive, unharmed, watching her crumble. "I heard everything, Nora." Her face went pale, disbelief crashing over her. You were supposed to be in the air." "I was supposed to be dead," he replied, "but Lily saved my life." 1 week later, news headlines exploded. Businessman's wife hires hitman. Plot foiled by homeless witness. Twist of fate. Stranger warns man of murder plot. Daniel returned to the Redwood Cafe a week later. Lily sat outside, sipping coffee. Someone had given her clean clothes. She looked better, calmer. "You were right," Daniel said, handing her an envelope. "I didn't do it for money," she whispered. "I know," Daniel replied, "but you changed everything." She opened the envelope. Inside, keys to a small apartment, prepaid for a year, and a handwritten note. Everyone deserves a second chance, even heroes with no home. Daniel as Lily walks down the sidewalk. Stronger, steadier. Behind her, Daniel watches from his car. Justice was served. But trust? That was gone forever.